Okay, so today we're going to be looking at something called perspective. Now, perspective is a way of representing something that's three-dimensional in a two-dimensional image. You're obviously all aware of the fact that things that are closer to you appear to be bigger and things that are further away appear to be smaller. So not that I recommend this, but if you were stood on a train track, you would notice that in the distance it was disappearing, and as the train came towards you, it would get bigger. Now, this is a technique that was mastered during the Renaissance, which was a period in the 15th century where Italian artists were really starting to transform the way they worked, and they'd create images with much more depth than paintings that had come before it. On this image, you can see that the street scene seems to be getting smaller and smaller the further it goes away, and there's a mathematical reason for all of this to be happening. If you follow any of the diagonal lines on the picture, they all run to one single point, and this single point is called the vanishing point. Now, the vanishing point always sits on the horizon. So I'm sure you know the horizon is the point where the earth and the sky meet. If this was a scene looking out at sea, the sea would be up to the green line and the sky would be above the green line. But in most cases, when we're in a built-up environment, we don't see the horizon, but you can still tell where it is by using these lines that lead to the vanishing point. Okay, so we're going to be drawing the interior of a room, and you're going to need to start this off by drawing a rectangle within the middle of your page. So this rectangle is going to be 6 centimeters tall and 8 centimeters wide. Make sure that your page is landscape, and also make sure that your lines are parallel with the edges of the page. This is very important. We're then going to put a small cross in the middle of that box. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. This cross is going to be your vanishing point. Now, the vanishing point, because it is at the level of the horizon, that means it's also at eye level. So if you can imagine how tall a person would be standing within the room, try to make the cross at that sort of height. Okay, we're then going to put the ruler from the vanishing point in the middle and go through each of the corners of that rectangle separately. So we're going to lay it on like that, and then draw in the lines going from the edge of the rectangle all the way out to the edge of the page. It doesn't have to meet the corner of the page. It could run off the page anywhere. What's important is that you go from that vanishing point through each corner of the rectangle. And there you have the empty shell of a room. So next we're going to draw a door on the right hand wall. So you're going to start off by drawing a vertical line up the side. Now again, make sure this is parallel to the edge of your page. You want to make the line taller than the vanishing point. Because the vanishing point is eye level, it's important that the door is taller than somebody's eye level, otherwise they wouldn't be able to get in. And then from the top of that vertical line, we're going to draw a line very, very lightly, going all the way to the vanishing point. And then depending on how wide you want your door, you're going to draw a vertical line going down. Now, you can then add in some panels if you like. You don't have to follow the same pattern on here. You can come up with your own design for the door, but the principle needs to remain the same. So you're using vertical lines to draw the edges, and then the top and bottom of each panel runs in the direction of the vanishing point. Okay, with all your lines, draw them lightly, because you're going to need to rub out any of those guidelines that you don't want in your final drawing. So once we've done the door on the right hand side, we're going to put the window into the left hand side. So same process again, vertical line first, lines running in the direction of the vanishing point for the top and bottom, and then another vertical line going down. And then when we rub out the extra lines, we've got that. Now that looks more like a poster to me rather than a window. So to give it some depth, we're going to draw a rectangle inside that shape. So again, I keep banging on about this, making sure that the lines are parallel with the edge of your page. It is really, really important that you concentrate on getting that right. So make sure that you draw a proper rectangle with right angles, and that you're going inside the window. Then from the two new corners of the rectangle, we're going to draw lines from the vanishing point inside the rest of that window space, and then we're going to add in some window frames, again all heading in the direction of the vanishing point, with some vertical lines to finish it off. So now we've got a window set into the wall. Okay, finally we're going to look at adding some furniture in. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can start with a shape for one face of your piece of furniture. In this case it's going to be a wardrobe. So that's drawn where you would expect that side of the wardrobe to be. You can see that it's not at the edge of the wall here, but it's quite close to the corner there. That's because we want the wardrobe to be going back from there. So again, we're using the vanishing point to get the lines, the right angles for the sides of the wardrobe. The back of the wardrobe is another vertical line. And then when we rub out the lines we don't need, we can see a block in place, which is where the wardrobe will be. Now, we're going to do a bed in the opposite way, but you can use the same technique, drawing the rectangle at the front. So you could draw your rectangle here, if you'd rather than at the back. And then we're going to draw lines coming out from the vanishing point and the other rectangle there. So either start with the rectangle closest to you, or you can start with the rectangle further back. It's up to you. And then rub out the lines that you don't need. So you've got a block in place there for where the bed is. And once you've mastered that, you can start thinking about putting various shapes together to make other objects. So for example, a desk here. Same process again. So we're going to create a floating block to begin with, and then we're going to create separate blocks for the legs, like so.